it's Tazewell County Animal Boot Camp, and today we're talking about cats, which is very different than my usual content, obviously, because I really only talk about dogs and dog training. But I went to rescue cats. I'm not a cat person, just to be very clear. I really don't like cats much. Nothing against them, they're just not my thing. I have a cat, I love her, and I will interact with cats. I don't hate them, I just don't really like them. But one thing I could never do for any animal in need is just leave them to possibly get seriously injured or sick or even die, especially 3 young, beautiful kittens. So, backstory, I was asleep and get a call at about 6 a.m. from one of our drivers at work. I was thinking, what on earth could he possibly need at 6 a.m. from me? I work in the office, there's nothing that they could possibly need at 6 a.m. from me. But I answered the call because I was like, I mean, why else? It's gotta be something important if he's calling me at 6 a.m. So I answer, and he's kind of panicky, and I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, can you come get 3 kittens from the office? I found them, they look very young, they look very skinny, I need you to come get them. They can't just stay here all day. We don't have any way to give them food or water. And I was like, yeah, of course, I'll come get them. I'm sure the reason he thought to call me is because I'm kind of known as the person that loves animals there, and I do bring my dog with me every single day. So that's probably why he thought to call me to come get them. But I did. And so I show up at about 6:30, and there's 3 tiny little kittens in a box. Now, none of them were skinny. They were very average weight for a kitten. He said he doesn't really know much about cats. And they weren't super young. Like, they couldn't have been away from mom young. They were probably like 8 to 9 weeks old, and they were old enough to be without mom. So that was the good thing. But I'll show you the video of them when I first got there. And here they are. 3 very beautiful young kittens. They look to be in good condition. I don't see anything majorly wrong with them. They're about an average weight for a kitten their age, I would say, based on feel. Hey, go on, little buddy. I gave them some food, some water. So we're just letting them munch on that for a little bit. But they're very clearly socialized. These cats were not just strays that they found outside. Look at the ears, it's all dirty. So obviously the first thing I did was take a look at them, make sure that they were pretty healthy and there was nothing to be concerned about, because they were going to be in my home, and I do have another cat. I kept them away from my other cat because she really doesn't like other cats anyways, and also just in case they had something that she could possibly get. She has all the vaccinations that we can possibly give her, but there's still a risk, and it's not one that I'm willing to take. She's usually very gentle with kittens. She doesn't like them, but she will kind of growl and hiss at them and just not actually try to beat them up. But she still could have injured one of them. So there was many concerns there, so we just kept them away from her while they were here. Now, if you look in the video, they have plenty of energy. They're not exhausted. They're all eating, all drinking, which are all good signs. Now, this is towards the end of July that they were all out. So unfortunately, it does look like most likely someone dropped them and just left them somewhere in that area. We checked our cameras. We didn't see anyone dropping off a box or a bag or anything like that. So if they did it, it wasn't actually at our office, but they somehow made their way over there. It would be very unlikely for kittens that are that young to get out of a home and run all the way to my place of work, because it's a business district, so they would have had to run for miles in that heat just to get there. The driver that found them hiding underneath one of the semis, and he was, even though he really doesn't like cats at all, he couldn't risk them getting run over. And I mean, they were sitting in a truck parking lot where trucks are constantly coming in and out. So he didn't want them to get hurt, so he ended up just putting them in that box, which they did not come in, and then calling me. So we unfortunately believe that they were dumped. There could possibly be more, but hopefully not. I think we got all of them, most likely, if there is another one. If it wasn't with its litter mates, because they all appear to be similar ages, similar sizes, similar markings, that's not a good sign. If it wasn't with its siblings, likely something bad happened to it, because they tend to stick together. I called around to other businesses in the area, see if anyone that was working that day saw anything, if anyone's cameras caught anything, someone suspiciously just putting a bag on the ground or a crate or something on the ground and just leaving it. So far, nobody's seen anything, and no more kittens have been found. We are happy that the 3 that we found appeared to be very healthy, active, normal kittens. I didn't see any major issues with them. They were all very sweet, very loving. They definitely were not strays. They thought, oh, maybe they were just strays and the mom left. That's definitely not what happened. Those cats were extremely friendly with people, very social with people. Even stray kittens are not going to be that nice to people, especially at 8 to 9 weeks. These aren't little baby kittens. These are kittens that can be out on their own, and they had no issue at all with handling. So they had to be with someone at some point. It is always possible that they did get out of someone's home. It's just unlikely that 3 young kittens would have been able to go miles and miles to find their way to our business after all 3 getting out of the same home at the same time. So that is kind of what leads us to believe they're most likely were dumped in the area. People really like to do it in business districts, because while there's a lot of cameras in certain areas, you can kind of tell which businesses do have it and which ones don't, and there's a lot of blind spots because a lot of those businesses out there especially have very large open areas that they don't have cameras on. It's just field, or it's just a truck lot, something like that, so they could easily just drop the kittens and there's nothing watching them, so you never catch them. And I think part of it is sometimes that they hope that someone will find them. The worst part about this is these are 3 young, healthy, active kittens. You could have just taken them to the pound and dropped them off. They would have gotten adopted quickly. There was no signs of anything being wrong with those cats. Their gums were nice and pink. They were a nice, healthy weight. There was no fleas, no ticks. Their ears were a little dirty, but other than that, they were eating, drinking, playful, active, young, very beautiful, very healthy appearing cats. And I have called and checked on them since I sent them to the shelter, and they're doing well. So far they have passed all tests. There's nothing wrong with them. So why these people didn't just take them to the shelter or even the pound so that they could be adopted out by another home and find loving homes without risking them possibly dying of heat exhaustion or dehydration or getting hit by a car or killed by another animal, is beyond me. I don't understand why you would do that. I can be a little more understanding if your animal is very unlikely to find a home and you're just hoping someone will find them and pick them up and love them. But even then, I do not at all condone dumping your animals ever. But I can be slightly more understanding in that case. But this was definitely not the case. These are cats that would have found homes very quickly. They're young cats. They're kittens. So I can't wrap my head around why you wouldn't just take them to the pound and drop them off. The pound doesn't judge you. That's not their job. Their job is to take care of the animals and get them into new homes as quickly as possible. But now that you've dumped the animal, whoever you are, and if you so happen to be watching this, and if you really did dump them, because there is the chance that you didn't and they did get out. But with all of the evidence pointing towards someone dumping them, whoever you are, Mads, it's okay. Minor interruption from Mads Keen. But, yeah, whoever you are, I will figure it out. You dumped it in a business district where there are a lot of cameras because it's also in a kind of higher up city. Most of those businesses do have cameras covering almost every single inch of the area. So I'll figure it out. and I'll make sure you can never do this again to any animal on this planet. I will get whatever animals you have left taken away from you into better homes, and I will make sure you can never get another one in your life. Because this is unacceptable. Unacceptable. I don't care what kind of situation you were in. You could have called animal control to come pick the cats up. You didn't even have to drive them there. You could have called them, and they would have come got them, and then they would have gotten into good homes. Because the thing is, and you would know this if you live in this area, even the cats that they can't get adopted out fast enough that would have ended up on the euthanasia list, they send them to the other shelters in the area that can take them. And they always do, especially with young, healthy kittens with a very good chance of finding good homes. They have never just put to sleep a perfectly healthy, perfectly fine animal. They always find somewhere for them to go, whether it's in a new home or with a different shelter. Really, that's what they do. So, because you decided to dump them, I will make sure that these cats get justice, because even though they turned out fine because someone found them in time, a couple more hours, it would have been near 100 degrees outside, 3 young kittens in 100-degree weather with no food and no water. You dump them, and there is a large population of coyotes in that area. They could have been killed. There's a large population of very large trucks running around that area. They could have been killed. You're lucky my driver found them. I'm not usually one to get pissed off either. I'm usually very understanding of people's decisions with their animals, whether it be to rehome them or take them to the shelter or the pound. I'm very understanding of that. Sometimes certain dogs or cats or other animals just don't work out in that home, and that is perfectly fine. It is more responsible to send them off to go to a home that can handle that animal than to keep them with you when you cannot. Or in a home where they can really properly take care of that animal when you cannot. I 100% support people rehoming and giving up their animals when it comes down to them no longer being able to provide that animal what they need. But when you decide to just dump them, no, I can't support that. Especially not 3 young, healthy kittens. I cannot support that ever. The crazy thing is, it's not like these cats were like feral and they were like rude or mean. They were such sweethearts. They met the dogs and they were all very nice about it. Considering most kittens, when they meet new dogs, they're freaking out, especially 2 large dogs. They're freaking out, they're going crazy, they're trying to attack the dog. These cats didn't care. They didn't care. Except for one of them. One of them was a little rude about it. But the other 2 were pretty good, considering 2 large dogs are coming in their direction. But the cats are doing very, very well, and that's what is important. We did find them. Someone found them. Someone took them inside, put them in a cooler area, make sure that they would be okay until I got there, and then they were okay. And that is what is important here, is that they're okay and they will find new homes very quickly. While I would have loved to keep any of the kittens here, it's just not a viable option with my cat. She would have been very stressed with a new kitten around. She doesn't like new animals, and she especially doesn't like new cats. She would have hid for weeks, and then as they annoyed her, she would beat the crap out of them. So it's really just an unfair situation to my cat and to them, because they would be getting beat up all the time. And then you do have the 2 giant dogs. It is very scary for the kittens. Even though none of them were overreactive about it, it still is very stressful for them. So being put in the shelter, and I do know this shelter, they would have given them proper slow introductions. I didn't have the time for that. The dogs were there. I had to bring those cats inside, make sure that they were in a cooled area while we waited to be able to take them in. But yeah, so I really couldn't keep them. I would have loved to, but again, it's just not a viable option here to have 3 kittens, especially with Charlie, my current cat. So I enjoyed the time that we spent together. They were very cute, very playful. But in the end, I really don't like cats that much. I wouldn't have wanted to take care of them myself. Granted, I live with my family, and my younger sister really loves cats, so I'm sure she would have taken care of them if they had stayed, but I wouldn't, so it wouldn't have been my choice anyways, because I really don't like cats that much. I'll spend time with them on occasion, but I will not spend constant time with cats. They're not my thing, which is why I myself will never be getting a cat, unless it's temporary, like it was a day or two ago now. You know, I'll always take in an animal that's in need, and depending on if it's even a viable option for them to stay with me, I will take care of them while they're with me and find them good homes, or keep them forever depending on the situation. And if it's just not a good fit for them to stay with me, even if it's temporary for a few months while we find them a new home, I have many shelters that I'm friends with, and they all know me. So I always have options open, which is why I always am willing to take on a case where an animal needs some help. I'll come get them and take care of them while they're with me, even if it's just for a few hours, and make sure that they're off to a very good shelter or to a new home, because those are important. So yeah, I'm happy I was called, and I'm happy that they're okay and that they will find loving homes. There's always a 5-day hold in case anyone decides to come and claim them. So they're still in hold right now. They're not up for adoption yet, but they will be soon. So I'm so excited for their new journeys in life. But I'm gonna end the video here, and I'll put some pictures of them all together at the end here, so you guys can see more of them. But yeah, that's everything. So I'll see you guys on the next video. I know I said I would do the Rottweiler video, but this happened this week. It just happened, so I did this video instead. But I will do the Rottweiler video next week. So yeah, enjoy pictures of cats.